Hey everyone, it's Blake. Welcome in to episode number 22 of our Exploring the CVerse series, TEW 2020. We are on to 5 SSW, 5-star Supreme Wrestling, back to another all-women's promotion. And very interesting one here, as you'll see when we go through it. And again, if you haven't checked out all the other ones before, be sure to go back through the archives there. We have done, as I just thought about the number, we've done 20 plus already, CVerse companies, and you can go back through, check those out, and see if any of those interest you. Let's see if 5 SSW interests you, because it is the number 18th ranked company in the world right now. A tiny company to start off with, $100,000, 62% prestige, 41% momentum, and the size, as we always sort of discuss right off the bat. Really getting to small, I mean, it's just a very easy path. I mean, let's call it what it is. You're already at 31 here in the home region. So, now to get to small, you just have to get to 35. So that should be something pretty achievable right off the bat. Now, as we know, that small to medium is where things get a lot tougher. But for now, that's at least could be kind of a tiny little, achievement early on, just to kind of push you forward into that small territory. So that is kind of where things stand on the size for the company. All right, as for the backstory, this is, as you see, the most successful women's wrestling company in history. So a lot of sort of tradition, a lot of backstory with this one on, the Joshi scene in Japan. And, you can sort of read the backstory here of the Magic 3 and what things have pivoted to now. It's, as we'll talk about in the product, it's really all about action and sort of that fast tempo. That's really what this is all about for a promotion that is really built on match quality. And so you can kind of see, I think, one of the challenges early, if you want to use it sort of as a narrative to play with. Basically, can you regroup, from joining the modern Japan movement, which we've all kind of talked about over the years now, of what that did, and sort of the backstory there, and the tsunami 2016, as it says, hit the company pretty hard. So can you continue to regroup from that on the right track now? As we talked about, momentum, swinging up. So yes, it's sort of a company that's getting back on sort of a good footing, and just basically, can you continue to push it forward, like we said, because it's pretty achievable goal of getting to small right off the bat. And then, it's how do you continue to advance the company from there. But, all right, into the product, because that is always, as we know, one of the more, aspects of whether you want to use a promotion or not. It's kind of the product they use. So it is highly competitive Joshi, and like I said, it really is all about the fast action. As you see here, it's really just match quality. If you look over here, events, 90% matches, 10% angles. So yeah, I mean, you kind of know what to expect. Short angles, longer matches. That's sort of what you're getting here. It's a work rate company that really is built around, match quality, a lot of action. As we see here, the match focus is main event spotlight. As we know, and we've talked about in the other promotions, that means that 90% of the calculation is going to be on the main event. So certainly you want to book a big time main event on any show you do. Because that's what, sort of looking at the focus of the match and the rating and all that. So that is worth noting there. There is no face-heel divide. In all honesty, I'm okay with that. Even as someone, as you guys know, that basically the 3 other saves I've done, just in terms of the actual series, WWE, AEW, WCW 1998, those are all pretty much sports entertainment based. But I like the idea of just not having to worry about faces and heels, and everyone just kind of can be who they are, and you can kind of build around that anyways. Because look, like we said, this is really skills is what you're looking for with this company. You're looking for people who can work and people who can put on good matches. So it really is something that you can certainly play into it in your own sort of notes on things and how you book stuff. You can kind of play good versus evil and those kind of things, but there is no sort of a divide there with that. The style, as we always say with these kind of promotions, it's going to be more intense on the workers. And so with the schedule, which we're going to talk about in a second, that is something you certainly have to factor in. Just with the intensity that it has on the workers, could have more injuries, those kind of things. Like I said, one of the things that's worth noting, this is really about matches, short angles. Really, it's, you don't have to complicate it too much other than that. So that's kind of where things stand with the product in that sort of range there of your traditional type of company that we talked about with some of these before. So yes, that is a match work rate type company for sure. So all right, let's talk about the events and the TV schedule. It is a touring schedule, which you would have expected that, I'm sure, by now, but touring schedule. What I do like, though, and I will tell you this, I like the event graphics. You guys know I say this all the time. It helps with immersion, I think, into playing the game or playing as one of these companies. And so I like the fact that there are graphics. And look, I mean, they're all pretty simple. They all have the same sort of basic, logo here, and then they just have sort of the changing title of the name or of the event name. So I think that's kind of something fun. At least that's already built in. Can again sort of give you a little bit more Joshi Mania here. That is going to be your season finale. So as you would expect, that's kind of where things will stand there. That is the season finale event, and that's going to be in May. So if you start in January, like most probably would, I assume, you've got 5 months to build up to your big show. And again, like I said, you've got the graphics already built in for everything else, but you do have the touring schedule. And as I always say, if you're someone who's played with this promotion or other promotions that have touring schedules, always be sure to leave your feedback in the comments. That really helps out other players. And you can go back through and check out in the other Exploring the CVerse videos we've done. Go back through, find those promotions that have had touring schedules, because there's a lot of great insight and comments already on those promotions, and it may help you if you want to do something here with 5 SSW. So that is worth noting. And you do have a couple of tournament-based events. You've got the one in July here, the J Grand Prix, and you've also got one, I think it's November. Yeah, the Dynamo Tag. And as we'll see in a second, that is title-based tournaments there. So yeah, your touring schedule, normal event, sort of, one big event a month. And you do have 3 off-air TV shows, it's worth noting, that already have graphics. So should you ever get to that point, hey, there's something else that can help you kind of add to the feel of using 5 SSW, is you do have 3 shows that all have graphics. So, hey, that's a head start on that if you get there. All right, to the titles we go. I really like this group of titles because it's kind of, normal recurring championships, meaning you've got your world championship, you've got, the All Asian, that's going to be your mid-card type title. You've got your tag team championship, but you do also have the triangle title, which is a very, unique one here, in that it's always defended in 3-way, matches. So I think that is something fun. You can really build into your stories, not storylines, because you don't really have any in this company, but if you're building into your stories when you're booking, your touring schedule and events and those kind of things, this is kind of a fun one you can really play around with. I find this intriguing to try to figure out, how to put together those 3-way matches for this title, and can you grow the prestige of it, because, it's not to the level of the world title, right along the lines of the tag team title. The All Asian title even is lower than it, so the triangle title is kind of pushed forward into that, sort of next tier. So, hey, that may be something that if you enjoy those kind of matches, you can do it there. And like I said, you do have the J Grand Prix, which is going to be your singles title. That's going to take place in that tournament in July, and then the Tag Grand Prix, which is going to take place in November. So yeah, a lot of good options here, I think, for titles, and you can kind of build that into your matches, so that can keep things sort of fresh there, I think, on that. So all right, let's look at just some other sort of random stuff. As we say, some of these videos that are with tiny companies, small companies, they're a little bit quicker because there's just not as much to look at, right? So, we don't have a lot to really dive into. There are no stables. There are no storylines. Tag team-wise, yeah, you do have 5 experienced tag teams here. And as we, sort of scroll down this list, 87, 76, 58, 72, 61. So that is something worth noting. You are, again, on a touring schedule. So I think having tag teams is always a nice thing to have when you're doing a touring schedule, because that can really help you, book those matches and really fill out those cards a bit. And so maybe that's kind of one of your early goals too, is to add a few more tag teams to the mix, and just sort of see what you can get out of that to keep building up those touring events too. So, again, you can use the multi-woman elimination, or not elimination matches, multi-woman tag matches, those kind of things on the touring shows to build to your, your big, sort of blow-off matches at the actual, big event each month. So that's something worth noting. Everything else, you don't have any shop companies, no developmental, no training, because you are a tiny company. So all that's understandable. You don't have any relationships either. So, as I say with some of the other companies we talked about, that can be sort of a blank slate. You want to go out and create perhaps a relationship with someone. It just kind of depends because it is an all-women's promotion. So it's something you can kind of figure out how you want to navigate around that. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else other than just the roster, in all honesty. I think that's about it for 5SSW. There's not a whole lot of other things, I guess, that are really notable right off the bat. So if we go to the creative section, these are really the three, as I sort of looked at the roster a bit, pretty clear that these are the three that you can really, build a lot around early. And like we said, it's really trying to get, making that jump to small, and I think you can do it here. Top star, Yuma Marua here, I think it's pretty clear. I mean, look at the stats. I don't know how else to say it, right? It's a visual game. I mean, you see all the green and the light blue here. That's exactly what you're looking for. Tremendous in the ring, has the star quality, has everything really that you need here. 35 years old, and I think it's really just, this is someone that is clearly the leader of the promotion right now in terms of should be in every main event you have. That would be my suggestion if you're going to try to grow, especially early on, for sure. So that is a no-brainer here, current world champion too. So that's kind of an easy one. Nakajima here, Japensha, those are kind of two others that when you look at their stats, again, a lot of green, a lot of light blue, 32 years old. So people you can really rely on. I think it's, like I said, I think it's pretty clear, especially for your events. These three in some combination are probably a great starting point if you want to grow. They have the popularity, but the work rate and the matches should really deliver. And that sort of, that area, I mean, you really just look at it, 33 years old. So these are really kind of your, I call them your three pillars, but I mean, it kind of is what you're looking at here just with this group right off the bat. Next big things, you've got Maya here, someone else, good star quality, has sort of a lot that you can work with here from a work rate standpoint, 28 years old. I think it's someone else that you can sort of look at as a building block perhaps. And then, of course, I think it's always great just to start with the hot prospects. Not everyone, there will be other people on the roster you can look at and say, oh, yeah, I can use that person too. But as we know, if you're like building into the future and you're trying to look at it here, your hot prospects are pretty much filled with 27 to 29-year-olds. But if you go into the stats, again, here's someone 27 years old. Pretty good stats here overall. And remember, I'm used to looking at this section, charisma, microphone, acting for the sports entertainment. We're not as concerned with that now. I think it's always great to have the star quality aspects, but you really are looking at just what they can do from an in-ring standpoint in this promotion. And so, as you see here, sort of the bio, and I always say, read the bios. They really help you. I make my notes when I read the bios on the CVerse. If I start a save, just make a few notes on each person just to kind of give me something to start with. That just helps me get into the game a bit more. So, next generation, key member of the next generation. Great. That's what I would write down, and let's use that somehow. So you can go through, the entire roster here, see kind of we're looking at Thea Davis, who we're actually going to mention in the next Exploring the CVerse video we do, because she is also employed by EWA, which will be the next company we do in the series. But you can kind of look through all these people, get a good idea of where the roster is. But I like sort of the starting foundation of the roster, because if you look at it overall, not a huge roster. I always say it's, if you're just starting with the game or you want to just sort of pick up and play, I will add this to the group of the pick up and play promotions, because it is, you're not booking 15 angles to show. You're not doing any of that. You're just booking matches, maybe with a short angle here or there. But that's about it. So not really a complicated promotion to run. And you do have kind of the narrative of trying to build what has been the most successful women's company ever back into that and getting it back on the right track. And you're not that far off from making that jump early, but then that road to medium and maybe being able to continue to grow things from there. So you can look through the roster, kind of get familiar with all the different workers and all the different stars in the company, which here's another one, pretty tremendous. So I think it's looking at star quality again, all this other stuff. So there's a lot of good workers in this company, which you would need and you expect for SSW or 5SSW. And so, you can look through the roster, get a good idea of where everyone's at. And, I think this is a pretty nice promotion to play with if you're just looking to really jump in, get through, some game dates, get through understanding how to book a touring promotion. This is an easy one. I don't want to say easy in terms of growth and all that, but it is pretty easy to really just jump in and really start learning on the fly when it comes to booking a touring promotion and, a promotion that you don't have to really just set out 100 angles to start out with for the next 6 months, like I feel like I do sometimes in the WWE save and all that. So that is 5-star Supreme Wrestling. I know, some people I've seen have really had a lot of fun with this promotion in the past, and it is one if you're looking, especially not just if it, not even just the all-women's aspect of it, but really just the style, the product, those kind of things. If you're into that kind of product and you really wanted to build some nice rivalries and those kind of things just based on the in-ring work and building future stars, I really like the idea of using 5SSW as an option there to start with. So there you go. There's some thoughts on 5SSW. And as always, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out all the other videos we've done in the Exploring the CVerse series. We're going to go through every starting company in TEW 2020. And so we've still got quite a few to go, but we've already done a lot. So go back through, check those out. As always, leave your feedback. If you've used 5-Star Supreme Wrestling, if you've played with them, long saves in the past, currently, whatever, give some insight. It's always great for other players, and I always, love learning from you guys as well, your tips and tricks on playing with some of these companies. So be sure to do that, and on the next episode of our Exploring the CVerse series, as I mentioned earlier, we will go to Europe, and we will go to EWA.